They say the mountain is the top. I say that just scratch the surface. Yeah, we started at the bottom with no option but to go up. You know what hurt is? When you growing up with no love. When you knew how to die before you learn to hug. When you fought in the street or you pulled a gun and led off at the ops so you sold drugs. Right? Now I'm rolling through the city, living at the top of my world.
Hi, my name is McKenna Koledo. I'm 24 years old, and I can't believe it took me this long to understand really the magnitude of how large racism has built this country. Sure, you learn in school that racism is a huge part of America's history with slaves, the Civil War, Jim Crow laws, and the Third Amendment. But until I began educating myself 2 weeks ago, all of those ideas of racism felt really rooted in the past. So how could our country still be built around racism today? It wasn't until I watched the 13th documentary that I really, truly understood the magnitude of what mass incarceration means, what redlining means, how our country still profits off of prison labor, what the organization of ALEC is. How did I go 24 years of life not knowing these huge issues existed, and I just turned a blind eye to all of this? So all I can say is that the Black Lives Matter movement is incredibly important. The most important thing that we can do today is to act, whether that's educating yourself by reading, watching a documentary, listening to a podcast, going to a protest, talking to your friends and family about racism. This is a lifelong movement that doesn't just last 2 weeks. It's a movement that lasts a lifetime. This is also a time where we have to understand our own privileges that we hold. As a non-Black person, it's really easy to stop thinking about this movement for a couple of days, maybe because you're tired. But when you are a Black person of color, this isn't something that you can just turn off. It's something that you have to live with every day. And it's important that as a society, as one nation, we come together to support Black Lives Matters, because all lives matter don't matter until Black Lives Matter.
You don't know how much my mama worries. Oh, I should tell you, by the way, I came for everything. I will not run away, I will not run away. I'm here to stay.
Hi, my name is Ryan Waranauskas. I'm 24 years old, and personally, I'm not a person of color and have lived dominantly in white communities my entire life. We always learned about the word oppression, and we were taught about slavery in school, and ultimately told that the chapter was somewhat closed. But that was fully a lie, and this movement is meant to address that head on. It wasn't until I went to a protest and began my own education into the matter that I was able to scratch the surface of what Black people faced their entire lives. Going to the protest and feeling just the amount of love in the air and the pressure of everything going on just finally awoke in myself to like what is going on in the world. And although we do live in a very progressive place, it really comes down to everyone collectively coming together and understanding that all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter individually. So educate yourselves, take action. And it's in a time like this that I fully remember that I will never understand. However, I will stand.
Yeah, they say the sky is the limit. I say that just scratch the surface. You see my lifestyle change. Now I'm high on purpose. Yeah, I'm fly on first class. The last shall be first, yeah, I outlast. Last laughing to the bank with the bag. I remember back then, way back. They was looking at me like I never be nothing, but I already knew. Now I'm pulling up in something cool, popping out so fresh, like looking brand new. This is what it look like. This is what it do. When you're living like the truth, heartfelt like the news, and what I put my mama through. This ain't nothing new.
You don't know my story.
Hey everyone, my name is Franco Machado-Pesce. I'm one of the hosts of Quarantine Tales, And I wanted to take some time this week to just address what is going on in the world right now. We don't want to be silent about this. Let's use our voices to really be heard. The truth is, our country is full of social injustices that happen every single day and that they're hidden under the carpet. That's not okay. And today, we have to address that Black lives are being taken from our community by the people who are meant to protect us. These are institutionalized issues and social injustices that have sprouted from a history of racism and inequality. And thanks to coronavirus, we have the time to stay home and learn and address and understand that we will never understand. That is so important because that's the truth. Don't ignore what is going on. That is the worst thing we could ever do, is be silent. Be loud. Make your voice be heard. Write letters to your DA. Write letters to your local representatives. Vote when the time comes to vote. Be heard and take action. Because without it, we're just lying to ourselves. We're believing in fallacies, and that is not okay. The change cannot end here. Not now, not in 2 months, not in 2 years. This is something that needs to be taught from generation to generation, because racism is taught from generation to generation. So until the day we understand that we are responsible for these problems, we will never be able to fix them. So the time is now to realize who we are and how we gotta make a change. That is important. That is crucial. When I was in college, I learned about a sociologist named W.E.B. Du Bois. He was an African American scholar who came up with this theory known as double consciousness. Double consciousness is something born from an inability to feel like you belong somewhere. It's an internal conflict expressed by oppressed people because the constraints of society have already labeled them as something else. And W.E.B. Du Bois goes on to explain that this is caused by what we call a veil. You walk around with this veil, and that is the first thing people see. Before they classify you as an American, they classify you by the color of your skin. And that comes with inequality, it comes with stereotypes, with prejudice. And that is a problem. And to ignore that it's a problem makes you worse than the ones actually institutionalizing it. So we have to be active. We have to make our voices heard. We need to fight for what is right. And if you want to say that all lives matter, then frickin' make it known that Black lives matter. Because without Black lives mattering, then you can't say all lives matter. And at this moment in time, we can never say that Black lives have mattered. It is not in our history. But let's make it in our future, and let's make it in our present. Let's show that we are for this change. We want to save lives, and we are done with racism. There is no tolerance for that behavior. That's the truth. If there's no justice, there's no peace. So, go out and take action. Don't just let this be a social media post or moment. This is a change that needs to happen and last forever. I just wanted to wrap up with some things that will hopefully open the eyes of people who are voluntarily keeping them shut. I recommend that you all watch the documentary 13th by Ava DuVernay. For you to all watch When They See Us, also by Ava DuVernay. And also watch Selma and Just Mercy. These are movies that are just at the tip of the iceberg. They are one glimpse of the injustices that have been happening in our country for hundreds of years. Read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. These books are important. This is how you can start making a change, is by acknowledging your privilege and acknowledging the voices that need to be heard. So, with that said, I'm going to sign off, and thank you guys for listening to those who have listened. As always, do what you can. Educate yourselves, be healthy, be safe, and take action.
When you're living like the truth, heartfelt like the news, and what I put my mama through. This ain't that new.
This episode was edited by Franco Machado-Pesce. The song in this episode was Here to Stay by Easy McCoy. licensed on MusicBed. Thank you all for listening.
Tell you by the way